Adam was the spiritual. You want to read?
But that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual.
That was, and afterward that which is the spiritual. I mean, the Yahushua is the spiritual one, because what? He kept the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments without transgressing. He did not transgress. There was no fault in him, as there was in Adam, who transgressed the Most High's law. Read.
The first man is of earth, earthy. The second man is the Most High, the other one from heaven. Has it?
Is this the Lord? What is it?
Lord.
It's not talking about the Mashiach Yahushua. Read.
As is the earthy, such are they. Also, that are earthy, and has is the heavenly. Such are they also the heavenly. And has we borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Neither doeth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
Actually, give me go to verse 20. Verse 20, 15 and 20. That's the one I already want.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 20. But now is a Mashiach risen from the dead, and become the first fruits of them that slept.
Right. But now is the Mashiach Yahushua risen from the dead and became the first fruits of them that slept. The first fruits, like the first crop. You know, like you cultivated some crops, and the first fruit, the first fruits, the first, just like I said, the first batch of crops from the what you planted. So the Mashiach Yahushua is basically the first fruits. Read.
Verse 21. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead.
Right, but since by man came death, which is Adam, by man also came the resurrection of the dead, which is the Mashiach Yahushua. The resurrection came by Mashiach Yahushua. Read.
For as in Adam all died, even so in a Mashiach shall all be made alive. But every man in his own order, a Mashiach the first fruits, afterward they that are Mashiachs at his coming.
Right. First, this is going to be an order. First the Mashiach Yahushua, then those who believe in the Mashiach Yahushua. Understand? So go back to Revelation.
Revelation chapter 20, verse 6. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death had no power.
So the first resurrection is what? Believe in the Mashiach Yahushua. Once you believe in the Mashiach Yahushua, and such the second death has no power. Meaning what? When the earth has been destroyed, the second death is talking about the destruction of the earth. Mashiach Yahushua come back. The destruction that's going to happen. Once you believe the Mashiach Yahushua, understand? The second death ain't going to have no power in you. We're going to go through this. Read verse 6 again.
Verse 6. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection.
Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. The first resurrection means that us believing that the Mashiach Yahushua came to die for Israel, was sent by the Most High to be a Lord and a Savior, to give repentance to Israel. Understand? Once you believe in that, that is the first resurrection right there. Understand? Your sins are basically buried, and you're resurrected. Or with the Most High. With the Mashiach Yahushua, rather. Read. And such, the second death What was the first death? If there's a second death, there had to be a first one, right? If there's going to be a second one, then there must have been the first one. What was the first one? No.
I'm guessing like straying away from the commandments, not believing in Mashiach Yahushua.
No,
Sin.
Huh?
Sin.
Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. And those and such, the second death hath no power. The second death is talking about destruction of the world when Mashiach Yahushua comes. So the first death was what? Must have been the flood, where the world was destroyed previously. Okay? That was the first death. Understand? Now the second death now, just Noah and his family survived the first death. Now the second death, the 1/3, were blessed and holy. Understand? Who endure to the end. Keep the word of the Most High to the end. The second death is not going to have any effect on those. Get me give me that. Yeah. 1 Thessalonians 4:14.
The book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 4, verse 14. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so then also which sleep in Yahushua will the Most High bring with him.
Right. If we believe that the Mashiach Yahushua died and rose again, and that's the first resurrection right there. Believing that the Mashiach Yahushua died and rose again. And such, read.
For this we say unto you by the word of the Most High, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Other One shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Other One himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High.
Right. So even those who are died and Mashiach Yahushua comes back, when the Mashiach Yahushua comes back, those who died, understand, and believe, died, but believed in the Mashiach Yahushua before they died, the second death, when they got resurrected, the second death ain't gonna have the power on them. Meaning what? They're not gonna be this, they're gonna go through this destruction that's gonna come upon this earth and survive it. Just like Noah and his family survived the first death. Understand? Blessed and holy is he who took part in the first resurrection. They're gonna survive the second death. Read.
And the dead in the Mashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds.
Right, we'll go back to our Revelation.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out.
Finish. You're in the middle of 6. Finish 6. Start 6 again and let's go finish it.
Verse 6. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of the Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
All right. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in this first resurrection, and such the second death hath no power. The second death, we're talking about the destruction of that's coming up on this earth. Understand? They're going to endure it. But he shall be priest of power, because the priest of power and of Mashiach Yahushua. It's talking about, we're going to be a nation of priests. The Levites, we know, are going to be the actual priests, because being that they're going to have the responsibility of conducting the affairs of the priesthood. But we are all going to be a kingdom of priests in the sense that we are all going to know the laws, statutes, and commandments, just like the Levites. God, what? We're going to be in a kingdom of righteousness, where righteousness is being taught from infancy, as opposed to now where wickedness is being taught from infancy. Understand? So this is what this is talking about. This is the future right now. But they shall be priests of the Most High and the Yahushai, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. This 1,000 years on, you got to be careful what era of time this 1,000 years is talking about. Now, this 1,000 years is talking about the future. I hope you all see that. Shall reign with him 1,000 years. Why do we know he's talking about the future and not the past? How do you know that?
We will reign with a Mashiach
For 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Walk the earth for 1,000 years when he
but you could also be talking about the past just from that. But how do you know it's talking about the future?
Well, they didn't reign with him 1,000 years. He died at.
But when he reigned with him 1,000 years, in the sense that we were ruling. We were ruling. More or less according to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, as opposed to following the ways of Esau and the other nations right about us. In that sense, we were ruling with the Mashiach Yahushua. But how do we know that this precept right here in verse 6 is talking about the future? Because it's
He said with them, right? So the with them would be,
you know, here's how you know. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection, meaning that you believe in the Mashiach Yahushua. And such the second death hath no power.
So when they're coming,
the second death is the future. Understand? You can't be talking about the past.
Exactly.
So this is how you know he's talking about the future right now. On such the second death hath no power. Because what? We believe in the Mashiach Yahushua, we keep the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. And once you do that, the second death, the brimstone and the fire, the nuclear bombs and all that, the Mashiach Yahushua is coming up with fire, like we read in Isaiah 66. It's not going to have any effect on you. When we read about it in the Psalms 91, you can see all destruction going on around about you. It's not going to have an effect on you because you're protected by the Most High and the Mashiach Yahushua because you take part in the first resurrection, which you believe in the Mashiach Yahushua. And such the second death shall have no power, but they shall be priests and power. Are we priests now? We're priests now? But we're priests. You know, this is talking about everybody. Think about all the 12 tribes. It's not just talking about the Levites, but they shall be priests of the Most High and of Yahushua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. This 1,000 years is talking about when we have the nation, the captivity, not bondage. Understand? Now get on it's crazy. Go to hold down and get to Obadiah 1:15. Revelation 9, this this book is a book you have to make sure you pay close attention and linking up the precept to understand what era of time is referencing. Obadiah 1:15.
The book of Obadiah, verse 15. For the day of the outer one is near upon all.
So for the day of the Most High, the Mashiach Yahushua is near upon the heathen, the nations. Read.
As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head.
So, as they have done to us, it's going to be done unto them. The reward is going to be upon their own heads. Read.
For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea.
Well, right. For as we, the Israelites, have drunk upon our holy mountain, as we have gone through all these atrocities, the humiliation, the wickedness, the discrimination, the bondage, the hard bondage, so shall the nations go through. Read.
Yea, they shall drink.
Yeah, they're gonna drink. You know what? They're gonna go through this hardship that we went through. Man. Read.
And they shall swallow down, And they shall be as though they had not been.
And they shall be as though they had not been. In what? The rulership that they had, they ain't gonna have it anymore. Read.
But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance.
But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. Then you know, see right there, the Most High let you know the heathens are gonna go to hell. You gotta go to captivity for this 1,000 years. But in Israel, upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. Read.
And there shall be holiness.
Holiness, righteousness, keeping the commandments of the Most High and the Mashiach Yahushua.
And the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
What's that talking about? And the house of Jacob shall possess their possession. What is that talking about? The house of Jacob shall possess their possession. Again, Isaiah 14.
They want to be our possessions, right?
Yeah.
So
the house of Jacob shall possess.
Their possession, meaning we want to possess the other kingdoms, the other heathens.
Read.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 2. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High, for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Understand? Just like we drunk upon the holy mountain of Israel, so shall the heathens drunk, and they shall swallow down. And we should take them captives whose captives we were. We were their captives, but now they're going to be our captives in the homeland. And we're going to take them as possessions. We're going to possess our possession. They are our possession. You know what? They belong to us. Slavery. When you possess somebody, what is that talking about?
Ownership.
Ownership. That's slavery. What's that?
Oh, I had Lamentations 4:21.
That's all right. We got. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't go too much. But to wrap it up, please. Go back to Revelation.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 6. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power.
Right.
But they shall be priests of the Most High and of Yahushua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
Right. That's that 1,000 years now. Don't be tripping over this 1,000 years, brother. You got to understand what era of time a part of the verse is talking about. When it says 1,000 years, which era of time was it, of past or the future? Now, this 1,000 years in verse 6 is talking about the future. Understand? When we're gonna when we survive the second death, which is the destruction that's come prophesied to come by the earth. Understand? By having taken part in the first resurrection, which is I believe in the Mashiach Yahushua. Understand? That's what that's talking about. Now jump to verse 7 and see what that's talking about.
The book of Revelation.
See, you gotta read verse 7. You're gonna see for yourself. You just gotta exercise the wisdom and believe in the precept, and you will see clearly what it's talking about. Verse 7.
The book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison.
Right. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Now, what is that talking about?
That's the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All you know is the past.
Because when we reign, we're going to reign forever.
Exactly. Now, that's wisdom. Exactly. Because you know the Most High says kingdom is not going to be left to others. We're going to reign forever. So the Most High ain't going to loosen Satan to come back and deceive the whole world again. So this is so you know that this already took place. This is what I'm talking about. When you got to pay attention and you know what I mean, and link up the precepts to know what era of time this part of the 1,000 years is referring to, the past or the present. And that's because in Revelation it's like that, and a lot of people don't get it because you know what I mean. you're not cognizant of
Isaiah.
they're not cognizant of they're not linked to the priesthood corrected and all that. Because the scripture said, hey, we just read over there, we're gonna possess our possession. Understand? And if you read further in over there, it says that Esau is gonna be totally annihilated. Understand? And in book of Daniel, it tells you, for how long? We say that every time I camp, John. Yakanan. How long? Forever and ever. Forever and ever. That ain't a joke. So we know this is talking about the 1,000 years when we ruled in the Byzantine era. Understand? And now, when Satan got loose was when the Borgia family, through the Renaissance, came back with Caesar Borgia and Christianity. And now the old world being deceived through Christianity, following the doctrine of Christianity, and the other doctrines for that matter. Read.
Verse 8. And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth.
That's what's going on right now. You got missionaries all over the world, and you got spreading Christianity, democracy, homosexuality, all bestiality, every abomination you can think of, man, is being spread all over the world. That's what this is talking about. This 1,000 years, which took place, but Satan was loose. Understand? We reigned with Christ 1,000 years, then Satan got loose upon the Renaissance. The rebirth of wickedness. Read.
Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle.
Right, so because now, when wickedness is going on now, so that the Most High is going to gather all those nations together to battle against the battle Armageddon. Get some?
I'm gonna get that. I believe it's in Joy.
No, we're going to wrap it up. Read on the verse 10.
And Magog to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed the camp of the saints about the beloved city, and fire came down from the Most High of heaven.
Right, that's what I'm going to read the book of Ezekiel, chapter 39, particularly 1 through 8, the old chapter, even chapter 38. You see this is talking about when us being in our homeland, going to the wilderness, and then in our homeland, us being attacked by these nations. Understand? And then Mashiach Yahushua to come to our defense. So, just to sum this up, we read Romans reading up until the ruling, and Israel started coming into power, into ruling into power in 193 AD. Before that, 193 AD, you had Marcus Aurelius ruling from 161 to 181. His son Commodus from 181 to 192. Then Pertinax came into rulership. Then the Senate gave then came into Didius, what's his name? Didius, his last name. He bought the seat basically because he bought the seat. Then Septimius Severus attacked him, took over the seat. Then Septimius Severus attacked other generals, his rivals, Pessinus Niger and Claudius of the Roman Empire in 193 AD. And he ruled with his two sons from 193 AD. His eldest son died 217. From that point on, you had 60 different emperors over a 65-year period, which was up to 284. All right, then they had the Tetrarchy which is an agreement to have the Roman Empire divided among four emperors, and in one emperor, one region, which was in the northwestern side, which was basically Britain over there. Constantius Chlorus, when he died in 306, Constantine the Great. That's how we know all people ruled Britain too. Understand? Because that's where Constantine was in 306. Constantine the Great came into rulership in 306. He didn't like the fact that he had to share the empire with the other. Yeah. So he attacked them and became the sole ruler in 306. Then he basically started solidifying his Israel, stamp of rulership in the Roman Empire. That's why, and he ruled from a city of Constantinople, which was named after him. Understand? That was named after him. That same Constantinople, when the Ottoman Turks came back into rulership in 1453, they changed it to Istanbul. They named it Istanbul. So basically, Israel and other dark nations are rulership. Got an Arab. I'm going to go to different time zone when we have conflicts and all that in that period of time. So then the nations came. Their head got healed. We heard about the 7 heads and 10 horns, and the one head got wounded to death, but was healed. Okay, that healing came back in the late 1300s. Okay, the Renaissance, when the Borgias came into prominence, and from that time on, it's all wickedness in the earth. The earth gives Job not going to put full effect. And that's so that's what I'm talking about.
I have one question. When we was in Revelations 20 in 4, on the part I'm having a confusion about when it speaks upon his mark upon their foreheads. I understand about the horns and the seat, as the rulership, but when it's talking about after they bring up Mashiach, I'm not sure how it's
the mark with the forehead.
Yeah,
the mark with the forehead. I mean, I know some people teach that it's an actual chip, but it's a mark. It's talking about the forehead. What does the forehead represent? That's your brain, your mind. Understand? So the mark up on the forehead is like the seal. There's a lot of people there. There's the philosophy that the father is sealed in the forehead. Understand? You can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them. You show them the scripture, but it's like it's sealed in their mind. I mean, they don't want to hear nothing. Even when you show them straight. I mean, but because the most I got them blind like that. You see, the Mashiach Yahushua was saying, what did the apostles ask Mashiach Yahushua? Why do you talk to people in parables? Because you don't want them to know.
Exactly.
You don't want so that's why the scripture says, blessed and holy is he who had part in the first resurrection. You're blessed and you are holy, man, for having part in the first resurrection. Understand? So those who are sealed with the philosophies of the so-called white man and the other nations. You know what I'm saying? You got it real bad. So that's why we gotta be grateful and endure to the end. That we take part in the first resurrection, which is to believe in the Mashiach Yahushua, because as such, the second death, which is destruction for America and the world, shall have no effect. But we shall reign in the Mashiach Yahushua 1,000 years, meaning what? We shall have the nation in slavery 1,000 years. Then what? Then we're gonna bring them back to the respective nations. Give me Micah 4 while we're at it. We're wrapping up with Micah 4.
We'll start from verse 1.
Yeah, you see that the scripture. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Before the one.
The book of Micah, chapter 4, verse 1. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Most High shall be established in the top of the mountain.
Right. The last days, the mountain of the house of the Most High shall be established in the top of the mountain. You know what? The nation of Israel shall be established as a superpower on this earth, ruling all nations. Read.
And shall be exalted above the hills.
Shall be exalted, man. All the nations are going to look to us. No, seeing that the Most High is raising us up as a superpower on this earth. Read.
And people shall flow unto it.
You shall grab hold onto your skirts of Israel and say, we see that the Most High is with you. Just like they did in Egypt, when they saw the plagues, and the Most High plagued the Egyptians when they saw the Most High was working on them. Those miracles for Israel, they know the Most High got to be with you people. So I'm coming. That's why there were so many of those strangers clinging to us. Read.
And many nations shall come and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of the Most High.
See, they don't recognize that. Right now they say, hey, them niggas that speak, ain't nobody. But when they see the Most High raising Israel up, they're gonna sing a different tune. Read.
And to the house of the power of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways.
Now they're gonna wonder on the laws. He will teach us of his ways. We're gonna teach them the ways of the Most High. Read.
And we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Most High from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off.
Right, that's what we do. Judge amongst many people, and rebuke strong nations far off. Now jump to verse 5.
Verse 5.
No, actually verse 4. Start from verse 4.
Verse 4. But they shall sit every man under his vine.
They shall sit every man. This is after the 1,000 years ruling with Mashiach Yahushua in the future. After that, they shall sit every man under his vine. What does a vine mean? The vine means your heritage, your nationality. Understand? Who you are. Every man is going to sit in his own territory. So all the different nations are going to be brought back to the respective, land that the Most High designated for the particular nation. After they build up the nation of Israel and serve us 1,000 years. That's what that's talking about. Read on.
But they shall sit every man under his vine, and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid.
Right.
For the mouth of the Most High of hosts has spoken. For all people will walk, every one in the name of his power.
See that? All people shall read it just as it is.
For all people will walk, every one in the name of his God.
See that? All people shall walk, every one in the name of his God. What does that mean?
They're going to serve their own deities?
I think they're going to
see
the Jakes.
No.
Not Jacob. I said Jakes.
For all people will walk. Is the Most High going to have it that these nations be serving idols?
No.
Meaning we are the gods.
For all people will walk, everyone in the name of his God.
That's a Lord.
No, exactly. The Lord is God.
Talk about us as a God to
Now he's talking about them going back to their basically their land, and they're keeping their identity, their heritage. But of course, they're going to be we're going to have garrisons or embassies, something like that along their swords in their territories to make sure. Because remember that it said in Zechariah that all these nations that shall come up to Jerusalem, and whichever nation don't come to Jerusalem, there ain't going to be no rain in their territory. So we know they're going to have their own territory, but there are certain times, high holy days, whatever, they have to be there. Are the areas that the Most High designate that they should be. Otherwise, they're gonna have a real hardship. They're gonna be plagued in their land. So we told the most I ain't gonna have it that when people see this, oh, what? For all people will walk everyone in the name of his God. What? They're gonna be serving their God? See, that's what you gotta, you have to know. The most I ain't gonna have. Come on, man. That's why when the captivity to begin with. Understand? He's talking about they're gonna have their own local government. You understand? Because God means power. That's what the word God means. Allah, it means power. And that's why we said so much is power more. Yeah, that's what it is. God means power. So they're gonna have their own local government. But of course, just like in America, you have the president, then you have the governors, you have the senators and so on. Yeah, you have like a hierarchy. You have rulership. So that's what I was talking about. They're gonna have the local government in the respective territories. But they're all gonna be our possessions. Understand? That's what I'm talking about. I just went there because I know my brother I know from time to time people see this and get tripped up with all this. This is the word God.
It is in Exodus chapter 22, verse 28.
Exodus 22, verse
28.
Oh, want to read it?
Oh, fine. The book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 28. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people.
Right. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the rulers of thy people. When I talk, revile mean what? You can't berate them. You can't disrespect them. You can't revile the gods. You can't disrespect the gods, the rulers, the judges, people that the Most High put in position of power of the nation of Israel. Not disrespect what? The rulers of our people.
Yeah, but this one.
So it's still right there that gods are what? People of power who the Most High put in rulership. You can't revile them, you can't disrespect them, you can't, you know what I mean? So that's talking about. There more than that?
That's
Oh, yeah, that's what, yeah. And now you pick that up with Psalms 82 and 6. Right? 1 Corinthians 8 and 5. After 1 Corinthians 8 and 5 is bit he's talking about. Yeah. You can consider that. That's it. So to water Yasharala for listening those on the online. To water for listening. That concludes today's today's class. And as you should know, tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time, we're gonna have the Sabbath service till about 4:30 p.m. So, about Shamash Gawashai.
Sunday, Hanukkah.
Yeah, Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna have a Hanukkah. So make sure I'm pretty sure it's gonna be online, so you can tune in also. BeLightOfZion.com. So much Gawashai.
I don't got the address. I had the address. It's gone now.
You can, we got that Sunday, 6 p.m. sharp Eastern. The what? And Monday, Wapanya, Yerushalayim, stand face Jerusalem. Psalms 133. Shayar, Hama Iwa, Ladawar, Ana, Ma, Tawab, Naayam, Shakyam, Gam, Yakad, Kashaman, Atawa, Ayal, Haraash, Yarad, Ayal, Azakwan, Shayarad, Ayal, Hayab, Madawak Yawa, Katal, Karamwan, Shayarad, Ayal, Araria, Tasayawan, Haya, Sham, Tazawa, Yahawa, Abarak, Hayawan, Asham, Amashiach, Yahushai, Tawara, Awalam, Aman.
The book of Psalms, chapter 133, verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. But there the Most High commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. But Hashem Mashiach Yahushai,